Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are opening up a file that looks, at first glance, like a pretty standard mystery novel.
Yeah, the kind you'd grab at the airport for a beach read.
Exactly. But if you actually, peel back the layers, what we have here is a fascinating case study in competence, class conflict, and the lingering kind of rusty shadows of the Cold War.
He is a wild one. We are looking at Metro Girl by Janet Evanovich, specifically the first 9 chapters.
Great.
And while on the surface it is a story about a Baltimore mechanic looking for her brother, the underlying architecture is all about how practical blue-collar skills translate into a high-stakes espionage environment.
That is the angle that really grabbed me in the notes. I mean, we usually talk about transferable skills in a corporate context, right?
Sure, like how being a barista helps you in sales or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here we are seeing how knowing how to fix a carburetor helps you survive professional hitmen. It's a bit of a higher stakes transfer.
A bit, yeah. And that's really the mission for this deep dive. We want to unpack that transition. We want to see how the protagonist, Alexandra Barnaby, navigates a world she has absolutely no business being.
Miami high society.
Cuban smuggling rings.
Yeah.
The whole 9 yards. And she does it all using a toolkit she built in a grimy garage in Baltimore.
And we had to talk about the historical stakes, too, because this isn't just about a stolen moat. The MacGuffin here, the thing everyone is chasing, it dates all the way back to 1962.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
The Cuban Missile Crisis, it completely shifts the genre, doesn't it?
It really does. But before we get to, the nuclear tension, we have to start with the character architecture. Because everything, and I mean everything, hinges on who Barney is before she ever even gets on a plane.
Right. So let's look at the profile. She is 30 years old, and she currently works in property damage insurance.
Which, on paper, sounds safe.
Boring, even. I'm going to say boring.
Yeah, boring. But that is just the day job. It's camouflage, really.
Camouflage for what?
For her real education, which happened in the Canton section of Baltimore. Her father owns a garage. And the text is really clear that she didn't just hang out there after school.
Yo.
She was laboring. She was welding with an acetylene torch at 12 years old.
Which is a terrifying image for a 12-year-old, I have to say.
Oh, for sure. But it explains her psychological makeup. I mean, when you are handling fire and pressurized gas before you can even vote, that changes you. It has to.
It creates a certain kind of mindset, right?
A mindset of diagnosis and repair. That's what I call it. When you work on engines, you learn that things happen for a reason. If a car won't start, it's not magic. It's either fuel, air, or spark. One of the 3 things is wrong.
And she approaches her life that way.
She approaches this whole investigation with that same mechanical logic. She is the sensible one, the problem solver.
And she wasn't just fixing them, she was racing them. The notes mention she rebuilt a Chevy Junker at 16 and started racing stock cars.
They called her the terror of Baltimore County.
I love that.
But what I love about this detail is that she wasn't some, natural prodigy behind the wheel. She wasn't born to drive.
Really?
No, she admits she blew up more engines than she won races. She says, and this is a quote, "I just never got the hang of driving them without destroying them."
That's a crucial distinction, isn't it? She isn't a precision driver. She's a brute force operator who understands the machine's limits because she's broken them over and over again.
Precisely. She understands the guts of the thing. She knows what a piston looks like when it's been thrown clean through the engine block. That makes her practical, not precious.
And that practicality is what makes her the sensible sibling, especially when you compare her to her younger brother.
Wild Bill.
Wild Bill, the chaos agent. He is the reason she has to deploy all these skills in the first place.
He's the catalyst. The whole thing kicks off with a phone call at 2 in the morning.
And nothing good ever happens at 2 in the morning in these stories.
Never. So picture it. Baltimore's freezing cold. Barney is dead asleep. The phone rings. It's Bill, and he is screaming over the roar of a boat engine.
Oh, a good sign.
No. He's frantic. He says he has to leave Miami because, and he's yelling this, guys are looking for him.
And he delivers a specific message for a specific antagonist, which is great storytelling.
It is. Tell Sam Hooker he can kiss my exhaust pipe.
And then what happens?
A woman screams, and the line goes dead.
Chilling. It's a classic noir setup, isn't it? The late-night distress call, the mystery woman, and the immediate introduction of a rival.
Absolutely. So Barney, being the sensible older sister, immediately drops everything and heads to Miami.
And the source material really, really leans into the sensory shock here. I think this is so important for that fish out of water theme. It's not just that she's in a new city. Her body is physically rejecting the environment.
It is vital. You have to feel it with her. She leaves Baltimore, which is described as gray, freezing, a place where wool coats are basically armor, and donuts are a survival food group.
Huh. I can relate to that.
And she lands in Miami in January. It's hot, it's humid, it's bright, and she is sweating through her winter clothes the second she steps out of the airport.
It's a physical manifestation of her being out of her element. She is uncomfortable, she is hot, she is irritable from the jump.
Exactly. And so she heads straight to Bill's apartment in South Beach. This is where she immediately switches from worried sister into, well, detective mode.
She finds the place has been tossed. It's a complete mess. But she notices something interesting about the mess.
This is where that mechanic's eye comes right back in. She knows Bill. She knows he is messy. You know, he leaves beer cans and laundry everywhere. That's his baseline.
That's his normal state of chaos.
Right. But this mess is different. Cushions are sliced open. Drawers are wrenched out and dumped. She can distinguish between lifestyle mess and a violent search.
It's data analysis, really. She's looking at the scene and realizing the pattern doesn't fit the user. It's like finding a stripped bolt on an engine. Someone was here, and they were careless and forceful.
And in her search, she also finds a drawer full of condoms, which tells us Bill was having a very, very good time in Miami before he disappeared.
Or at least he was extremely optimistic about his chances.
Fair point.
But my favorite detail in this whole section, and honestly, maybe in the whole book so far, is the security system. She needs to get back into the apartment later, right? And she needs a spare key. Where does a Barnaby look for a spare key?
The fake dog poop.
The fake dog poop. It sounds like a joke, but break that down for me. Why is that significant beyond just being kind of gross and funny?
Because it establishes the Barnaby family ethos.
Yeah.
It tells you everything you need to know about them. They don't rely on high-tech alarms or fancy guarded gates.
Yeah.
They rely on being gross and practical. Who's going to touch dog poop? Nobody. It's the perfect hiding spot. It's earthy, it's unpretentious, and most importantly, it works. It tells you that these people operate on a completely different frequency than the polished, glamorous Miami world she is just now entering.
It's security through obscurity, but specifically blue-collar obscurity.
That's the perfect way to put it. And sure enough, she finds the little fake plastic poop in the planter outside Bill's apartment building. The bottom pops off. There's the key.
It's a small victory, but it grounds her, doesn't it? She's in this strange, hot, dangerous land, but her family's weird traditions still work. It's a little piece of Baltimore logic that holds true in Miami.
Exactly. So she has a base of operations. Now she needs to find the brother. She goes to his workplace, which is a marina.
And that is where she meets the man, the myth, the massive headache, Sam Hooker.
Enter the foil.
Yeah.
Sam Hooker. He is a NASCAR legend, a two-time Daytona winner.
Hmm.
In Barney's world, back in that Baltimore garage, he is a god.
Oh, her family worships him.
Totally. They talk about his stats at dinner. They have his posters up. He's an icon of everything they love.
But Barney,
Barney thinks he's a jerk.
just a complete jerk.
To her, he represents all the arrogance of that world, the flash without the substance. And their first meeting is, well, it's explosive. She walks onto the pier looking for the Flex 7, which is the corporate boat Bill worked on, and she literally bumps right into Hooker.
And he's not a happy camper. Why? Because his boat, the Happy Hooker,
Terrible name, by the way.
just an awful name, but his boat is missing.
And he knows Bill took it. That is the central conflict of this first act. Barney is terrified. Her brother is in danger, maybe dead. Hooker is just annoyed because his vacation is ruined.
The stakes are so completely mismatched, it's hilarious.
He just wants his 65-foot Hatteras convertible back for his 2 weeks off. 2 friggin' weeks, he keeps saying.
It's life and death for her, and for him, it's about his leisure time.
That friction is the engine of the whole narrative, at least in the beginning. But Hooker, he's not stupid. He attaches himself to her. He figures, if I follow the sister, she will lead me to the brother, and the brother leads me to my boat.
So you get this forced proximity trope. And he is just this cartoon of a NASCAR driver. He's in a silver Porsche, wearing hats that advertise tires, and flirting with literally everything that moves.
Which brings us to the bakery theory.
Yeah.
You have to explain this because it defines his character so perfectly, and it's so uniquely Hooker.
Oh, it's amazing. Please.
Okay, so he's oogling women on the beach, and Barney calls him out on it. His defense is what he calls the bakery theory. He tells her that looking at women is like walking into a bakery.
Okay.
You smell the donuts, you see the eclairs, it makes you hungry. It's just a biological response. He says even if you don't buy a donut, you can't help the hunger. You can look at the menu even if you're not going to eat.
And Barney isn't buying it for a second.
Not for 1 second. She just rolls her eyes. She's completely immune to his celebrity charm, which of course drives him crazy.
He's used to women swooning because he drives fast and has money.
And Barney just looks at him and sees a guy with serious anger management issues and frankly some pretty bad fashion sense.
But despite this massive personality clash, Hooker declares they are a team.
He does. He says, until I get my boat back, we are definitely we.
It's kind of a parasitic we at first, though.
Oh, completely. He's using her. But as the story goes on, you see that start to change.
Well, it has to change because the danger stops being theoretical very, very quickly. While they are bickering at the marina, we find out there's yellow crime scene tape nearby.
A security guard named Victor Sanchez was murdered the night Bill disappeared.
And not just murdered.
Throat slashed.
Huh.
This isn't just a joyride anymore. This is a felony murder investigation. And it doesn't take long for that violence to come directly for Barney.
Okay, so let's talk about the villains, because these are not just some opportunistic boat thieves. The threat escalates so rapidly.
It really does. It starts with a break-in at Bill's apartment while Barney is sleeping there.
This is where we meet Hugo.
A.K.A. Puke Face.
A lovely, lovely nickname.
Well earned, as we'll find out. Barney wakes up from a dead sleep to find this man looming over her bed. And the description is pure nightmare fuel.
Yeah, talk about that.
He's got a marine buzz cut, a nasty scar running right through his lip, and a glass eye that doesn't track properly with his good one. He's a monster straight out of Central Casting.
And he's not there to chat. He has an ultimatum.
Right. He tells her, Bill has a woman who belongs to my boss. And his plan is to kidnap Barney to trade her for this mystery woman.
So this is a life or death moment. Barney is in a t-shirt, totally disoriented, waking up in a strange bed.
Yeah.
And what does she do?
This is crucial. She doesn't scream and wait for Hooker to save her. Hooker isn't even there. She uses what she calls Baltimore street fighting.
Which is?
She screams, but not out of fear. She screams to disorient him, and then she kicks him.
Not just anywhere.
Right in the groin. Twice. The text is very visceral about this.
Yeah.
The second kick is so hard, she says she thinks his glass eye is going to pop out.
And the physical reaction is what earns him the nickname.
He vomits all over the floor, hence Puke Face. It's a grotesque scene, but it's so important because it establishes that Barney is physically capable. She isn't a damsel in distress. She's a fighter who knows exactly where to hit to cause maximum damage and create an opening to escape.
But Puke Face is just the muscle, right? He's the blunt instrument. Then we get the introduction of the man in black.
Slick.
Yeah.
And Slick is the professional.
Yeah.
He is so much scarier. He doesn't break in and lube over your bed. He's more subtle.
How do they meet him?
He just appears. They notice him watching them. Then he approaches them in public at an outdoor bar called Monty's. And he just warns them. He tells them to go home and to stop looking for Maria Raffles.
He gives them her name.
He gives them her name, and in doing so, he implies that he is the professional trigger man, unlike the clumsy Hugo. He represents an organized crime element that is much, much scarier than a random thug.
And hanging over all of this is the big name, the antagonist in the shadows.
Louis Salzar.
Louis Salzar, what do we know about him at this point?
Very little, which makes him even more intimidating. He's a shadowy Cuban businessman, maybe a mobster. He has rumored ties to Castro. They learned from a crew member on the Flex the Burt that Bill worked on before he took hookers that Salzar takes these mysterious, locked-down helicopter trips from the boat into Cuba.
Okay, so let's recap. We have a missing brother, a stolen boat, a murdered security guard, a vomiting henchman, a slick professional hitman, and a powerful Cuban mobster pulling the strings.
At this point, Barney realizes this isn't just about a stolen boat. Bill is mixed up in some serious international smuggling.
And she and Hooker can't handle this alone.
No way. Hooker is too distracted by his missing boat and, let's be honest, by every woman on the beach. And Barney, for all her skills, doesn't know the terrain. So they have to assemble a team.
The Scooby Gang, as it were. And the team they put together is just fantastic. It's truly the island of misfit toys.
It is. It's perfect. First, there is Judy. He's an old friend of Barney's from Baltimore who moved down to South Beach. He's now a very flamboyant, very successful gay interior designer. He brings the local intel. He knows which clubs to go to, who knows who, how to navigate Miami society.
And he brings Brian.
We cannot forget Brian the Schnauzer.
They cannot.
Judy is obsessed with skincare and is just constantly deeply horrified by Hooker's fashion choices.
The hats. It's the hats.
It's always the hats. He acts as this great comic relief, but also as a foil to the hyper-masculine energy of Hooker and the thugs they're dealing with.
Okay, so that's Judy. Then we have Rosa Flores.
Rosa is a powerhouse,
Right.
an absolute force of nature. She works at a cigar factory, and she was friends with the missing woman, Maria Raffles.
And she's not a shrinking violet.
Oh, not at all. She is unfiltered, she is brash, she is incredibly brave, and she is just eager for an adventure. When Barney asks for her help, she literally tells her boss to kiss her ass so she can leave work early to join the investigation. She's the local guide who isn't afraid to get her hands dirty.
And finally, Felicia Ibarra, Rosa's cousin.
Felicia is my favorite character in this whole section. She runs a fruit stand. And at first, she just seems like this superstitious older lady. She's constantly crossing herself, praying to saints, worrying about everything.
You think she's there purely for comic relief or to be the worrier of the group?
Exactly. You totally underestimate her. But then we find out she carries a revolver in her purse.
And why?
Because, as she puts it, it's Miami.
I mean, that's just brilliant characterization. It creates this dynamic where the most dangerous person in the group isn't the famous NASCAR driver or the tough mechanic from Baltimore.
It's the fruit vendor.
It's the fruit vendor, and we see that pay off in a huge way when the team goes down to Key West.
Right. They're following a lead on some specialized dive equipment Maria might have bought. And this leads to the Britney Spears incident. This whole sequence is just pure, beautiful chaos.
Set the scene for us.
It starts with the downside of Sam Hooker's fame. They're walking down a crowded street, and a family recognizes him. Then another person. And then, suddenly, it's a full-on mob of NASCAR fans.
And they're not just asking for autographs.
No, they're literally ripping his clothes off.
Yeah.
He loses his shirt, his hat gets torn away, he's being crushed by his own fans.
And how do they get him out of this?
It's Rosa's moment of genius.
Yeah.
She just points the other direction and screams at the top of her lungs, "It's Britney Spears."
No way.
Yes. And it works. It distracts the crowd for just long enough for them to grab Hooker and pull him out of the mob. It's a hilarious slapstick moment.
But then the tone whiplash hits hard.
So hard. Seconds later, they turn a corner onto a quiet, empty street, and Slick the Man in Black and his partner corner them. His partner is limping, by the way. They call him Gimpy.
And this is the scene that just, it shocked me when I read it. They have guns. They are clearly going to kidnap Barney.
And Rosa,
Yes.
bless her heart, tries to slap the gun away, which is incredibly brave, but probably not the best tactical move.
Probably not.
But it's Felicia who saves the day.
The fruit stand lady pulls her revolver.
And she doesn't hesitate. Not for a second. She just pulls it from her purse and shoots them.
She shoots them.
She shoots one in the foot, that would be Gimpy, and one in the arm. Slick. It turns the tide completely. It shifts the entire narrative from, amateur sleuths bumbling around to active warfare.
It also sends a message. This group bites back. They're not just easy targets.
For sure. But it also forces Barney and Hooker to flee Key West immediately. So they regroup. They know Bill and Maria are likely in Cuba or heading there. They know Maria was researching gold.
Right. We skipped over that discovery. This is a key piece of the puzzle. How do they find that out?
Well, Hooker, in a surprising twist, turns out to be pretty tech-savvy.
The NASCAR driver is a secret computer nerd.
Basically, yeah. He manages to get into Maria's laptop and check her search history. And what they find there is the thing that completely changes the genre of the story.
It goes from a straightforward crime story to a history mystery.
Exactly. Maria wasn't searching for vacation spots or anything normal. She was researching the Kennedy administration, the missile crisis of 1962, Soviet munitions, and crucially, the weight and dimensions of gold bars.
That is a very specific and very alarming set of search terms.
It's the blinkest insight moment for the whole plot. It's the why behind everything that's happening.
So let's pause on the history here. Why is this specific combination, 1962, Cuba, gold, and munitions, so incredibly volatile?
Well, in 1962, during the blockade, there was absolute chaos. The legend in the book is that a fishing boat went down in a storm near Nuevo Cabo, off the Cuban coast.
And this wasn't just any fishing boat.
Not at all. It was supposedly carrying Castro's gold. The story says 100 bars of gold that were being moved for some reason, along with a mysterious Soviet canister.
The MacGuffin.
The MacGuffin. And here's the personal connection. Maria's grandfather was the smuggler on that boat. He went down with it. Her father then spent his whole life trying to find the wreck and was either imprisoned or killed by the Castro regime for his efforts.
So for Maria, this isn't just about treasure, it's about family, it's about legacy.
It's a legacy heist. She's trying to reclaim this family curse, really, to buy her father's freedom if he's alive, or to secure her own future.
So Bill isn't just stealing a boat for a joyride. He's helping Maria salvage this historic wreck before Salzar, who probably knows the same legend, can get to it.
Exactly. Salzar believes the gold belongs to him or to Cuba. Maria believes it belongs to her family. And Bill, well, Bill is in the middle trying to help the girl and maybe get a little rich in the process.
So with this new information, the team splits up. The Scooby Gang, Judy, Rosa, and Felicia stay in Miami to create distractions and feed the bad guys false information.
And Barney and Hooker head south, into Cuban waters. They borrow a serious boat from a friend of Hooker's, a high-speed Sunseeker Predator.
This is the heist portion of the story, and I love the little details of the journey here. It's not like they're professional smugglers.
Not at all. Hooker's trying to teach Barney nautical terms. Port is left, starboard is right, and the basics.
And Barney is trying to be a good first mate.
She tries so hard. Hooker asks her to throw him a line, and in the process, she immediately drops their only walkie-talkie straight into the ocean.
Immediately, it's just a...
It's such a great detail because it grounds the action. They aren't super spies. They are barely confident sailors navigating by GPS and pure adrenaline.
But they make it. They find this remote estuary off the Cuban coast, and hidden deep in the mangroves, they find it.
The happy Hooker.
And they find Bill.
And the confrontation is just perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Barney is so incredibly relieved to see him alive and at the same time so blindingly angry that he dragged her into this mess that she just walks up and kicks him right into the water.
A completely reasonable reaction, I think.
I agree. And then Hooker starts laughing at Bill, so she turns around and kicks Hooker into the water too.
She's keeping everyone in line.
She really is.
Yeah.
But then we meet Maria. And you see the dynamic. She's the diver. She's the expert.
Yeah.
She and Bill are clearly a couple, but they argue passionately. It's all very intense.
And they're in the middle of the salvage operation.
Right. They're diving at night using these inflatable lift bags to bring the gold up from the wreck. It is dangerous. It's exhausting work. But they succeed. They get the gold.
100 bars of gold.
Yeah.
And the canister.
And the canister, which is painted with green and black bands and has Russian writing on it. It looks very, very ominous.
And they don't open it.
Which is the smartest thing they do in this whole section.
Yeah.
But just as they are ready to leave, mission accomplished, gold secured, disaster strikes. And it is not a gunman. It is not Salzar's helicopter. It is mechanical.
The Happy Hooker's engines won't throttle up. They are stuck at idle speed.
And this is Barney's moment. This is why the book started with her backstory in the garage.
Yeah.
This is the ultimate payoff for her character. Hooker doesn't know engines. He just drives them. Bill is useless with a wrench.
So for the non-mechanics listening, can you break down why this specific failure is such a nightmare scenario for them?
Okay, so a big marine diesel engine relies on compression and a very, very precise mix of fuel and air. If water gets into the fuel, which happens all the time in marine environments through condensation in the fuel tanks, it is catastrophic.
Because water doesn't burn.
Water doesn't burn.
Yeah.
And it doesn't compress the same way diesel fuel does. It clogs the filters, and if it gets through, it can blow the injectors to pieces. So the engine can run, but it can't generate any real power. It's effectively crippled.
So the boat can move, but only at a crawl.
Exactly. Idle speed, maybe 5 knots, tops. They can't outrun a rowboat, let alone whatever Salzar is going to send after them. They're sitting ducks.
So Barney goes into the engine room.
She diagnoses the problem immediately. Water in the fuel filters. She has to bleed the lines. And you have to understand, this isn't just flipping a switch. She has to go down into the hot, deafeningly loud engine room, manually open up the fuel system, pump out all the air and water, and reseal it, cylinder by cylinder, on 2 massive twin Caterpillar engines.
It's tedious, technical, physically demanding work.
It is. She spends hours down there, covered in diesel fuel and sweat. It is the ultimate vindication of her character. The girl from the garage is the only person on that boat who can save them. And she does. She fixes the engines.
But while she is down there fixing the boat, another threat appears.
Right. A mysterious boat appears and blocks the only exit from the harbor. They're trapped.
So Hooker has to make a command decision.
He does. He realizes that if they get boarded by Cuban authorities or Salzar's men, they cannot be found with that canister. If it is a weapon, being found with it is a death sentence or a one-way ticket to a black site prison.
So he and Barney need to hide it.
Exactly. They take the boat's inflatable dinghy, the RIB and the canister, and they head into the jungle to hide it, leaving Bill and Maria on the big boat to try and bluff their way out if they get boarded.
This leads to the jungle ordeal. And this sequence just strips away all the remaining social barriers between Barney and Hooker. It gets primal.
Literally primal. First, there's the spider incident. They are hiding in the mangroves, it's dark, and a spider the size of a dinner plate lands directly on Barney's head.
Nope. I would be done. I would have tapped out right there. I would have surrendered to the Cuban authorities immediately.
Most well-adjusted people would. Barney faints. She actually passes out cold from the shock. When she wakes up, she's completely hysterical. Hooker has to help her wash the spider guts off in a nearby stream.
And then it gets worse.
It gets worse. After washing in the stream, she discovers she's covered in leeches.
Oh, come on.
Leeches. And this is the moment where the dynamic finally truly shifts. Barney breaks down. This is the woman who kicked the guy in the groin, who faced down a hitman, who single-handedly fixed 2 diesel engines. But the leeches, this quiet biological invasion, they break her composure. She just sits down and cries.
And Hooker, the arrogant jerk NASCAR driver.
He steps up, big time. He gently picks the leeches off of her. He comforts her. He makes stupid jokes to try and distract her. It is a moment of genuine intimacy and vulnerability. He stops being the celebrity and becomes a real partner.
They end up sleeping in the jungle, huddled together for warmth and safety. It finally solidifies that he talked about all the way back at the beginning.
But the morning brings a very harsh reality. They hike back to where they left the boat. The mysterious boat that was blocking the harbor is gone. The happy Hooker seems abandoned.
They approach cautiously. Hooker tells Barney to wait in the dinghy while he goes aboard first to check the cabin.
And this is the cliffhanger. Barney is in the dinghy, maybe 20 feet away, watching. And she hears a gunshot from inside the boat.
A single gunshot.
A single gunshot. And then Hooker reels out of the cabin door. He stumbles across the deck and collapses, face down. And he does not move.
And then Slick the man in black steps out of that same door. His arm is in a sling from where Felicia shot him. And Gimpy, the partner with the shot foot, is right behind him. They've taken the boat.
It's the worst possible scenario. Barney is alone. She's unarmed. She's floating in a little rubber dinghy. Her partner is down, possibly dead. Her brother and Maria are missing again. And she is facing 2 professional hitmen who have already proven they are more than willing to kill.
And what does she do? She grabs an oar from the dinghy. And she threatens to beat them to death with it if they don't get off the boat.
It is the most futile, desperate, and unbelievably brave thing she could possibly do in that moment.
And Slick's reaction.
He just laughs at her.
Yeah.
And that is where the source material leaves us.
That is where Chapter 9 ends.
That is the end of the section we are analyzing today, yes.
Oh my God. Talk about high stakes. I mean, it leaves us with 2 massive, massive questions. First, and most obviously, is Hooker dead?
It looked like a center mass shot. The way he went down, it does not look good.
And second, what is in that canister? Let's just speculate on that for a second. Based on the 1962 date, the Russian writing, the secrecy.
And the markings. The notes specifically mention green and black bands. In military coding, especially from the Soviet era, those color bands often denoted chemical or biological agents.
So probably not nuclear.
I wouldn't think so.
Right.
A nuclear warhead, even a small tactical one, would likely be far too heavy for 2 people to just lift into a dinghy and carry into the jungle. It would have substantial shielding.
So we might be looking at a biological weapon or a chemical weapon. Anthrax, nerve gas, something like that.
Which makes Salazar's interest in it even more terrifying. He's not just a gold smuggler. He's potentially an arms dealer selling a weapon of mass destruction on the black market.
And the only person standing in his way at this exact moment is a mechanic with an oar.
It really just circles all the way back to that core theme you mentioned at the start. Competence. Barney is outgunned, she's outmaneuvered, she's emotionally wrecked, but she has not stopped trying to solve the problem.
That is the takeaway, isn't it? Whether it is fixing a clogged fuel line or kicking a henchman or threatening a killer with a piece of wood, she treats survival as a mechanical process. You just keep working the problem until it starts.
She doesn't panic, except for the spiders, which is understandable. She just looks for the next point of leverage. What tool do I have and how can I use it?
I love that. Keep working the problem. It's a great philosophy for mechanics and apparently for escaping international smugglers. Well, that is all we have for the first 9 chapters of Metro Girl. It is just a masterclass in blending genuine humor with incredibly high-stakes action.
And a powerful reminder to always check for fake dog poop before you try to break into someone's house. You just never know what you might find.
Solid life advice. Thanks for walking us through this, and thanks to everyone for listening to the deep dive. We will see you on the next one.
Stay curious.